In today's video we're going to talk about best places to visit in Sydney, Australia. Sydney, the oldest, biggest, and most beautiful of all Australian cities, lies amid a seductive intermingling of land and sea. Glide along the glittering harbour on a ferry, see the white sails of the Opera House gleaming in the sunshine, admire the graceful arch of the Harbour Bridge, and you'll see why this is one of the world's top cities. Before we move on, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell notification for latest videos. Let's jump in. Number 1. Sydney Opera House. One of the world's great icons, the Sydney Opera House is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the star attraction on the glittering harbour. This graceful building, shaped like shells or billowing sails, perches on a finger of land surrounded by water. You have several options for visiting the Sydney Opera House. Snap a photo while gliding by on a harbour cruise, relax at one of the restaurants, stroll around its exterior, or take an organised tour of this magnificent structure. Inside, you'll find theatres, studios, exhibition rooms, a concert hall, and cinema. Number 2. Sydney Harbour Bridge. Nicknamed the Coat Hanger, the Sydney Harbour Bridge is another Sydney icon. Supported by massive double piers at each end, it was built in 1932 and remains the world's largest steel arch bridge. You can drive over it, cruise below it, chug over it on a train, or photograph it from afar. But one of the best ways to appreciate this marvel of engineering, and soak up the spectacular views of Sydney Harbour, is on a climb to its 135-metre high summit. Number 3. The Rocks. Want to soak up a bit of Sydney history? Take a stroll around the Rocks. On a tongue of land protruding into Sydney Harbour, the Rocks historic area was once home to the Gadigal Aboriginal people. Later, it became the country's first site of European settlement. The Rocks was named for the rocky coast on the west side of Sydney Cove where the convicts pitched their tents. Today, more than 100 heritage sites and buildings jostle along the narrow streets, including Sydney's oldest surviving house, Cadman's Cottage, built in 1816. Number 4. Darling Harbour. Darling Harbour has something for everyone. Packed with tourist attractions, this waterfront precinct on the western side of Sydney's CBD is a hub for tourists and locals alike. You'll find everything here, from shops, restaurants, and entertainment venues to museums, a zoo, aquarium, and an IMAX theatre. Harbour also hosts an exciting lineup of events, from art exhibitions and film festivals to music concerts at the Aware Super Theatre. Number 5. Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney. Need a break from the hustle and bustle of the city? Chill out at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney in Farm Cove. A visit to this tranquil oasis is one of the many relaxing things to do in the city for free, especially if you're in need of a nature fix, and it's only a short stroll from the Sydney Opera House. Established in 1816, the gardens are Australia's oldest botanic garden. They encompass 30 hectares of themed gardens with towering trees, palm groves, orchids, ferns, succulents, tropical gardens, rainforest plants, herbs, and oriental gardens. Aboriginal cultural tours and guided walks are offered, as well as events such as bush tucker morning teas and picnics. Number 6. Queen Victoria Building. Is shopping high on your agenda? Head to the Romanesque-style Queen Victoria Building. Even if you're not planning to buy anything, it's worth a visit just to admire this beautifully restored building and its colourful stained glass windows and mosaic floors. A high central dome surrounded by 20 smaller domes crowns this elegant building, which was originally built as a market hall between 1893 and 1898. After decades of neglect and even plans for demolition, this grand sandstone building was restored to its original state in the early 1980s. Today, more than 200 high-end shops line its light-filled galleries. Australian stores include R.M. Williams, Lorna Jane, and Hayes Chocolates, as well as many Aussie designer boutiques, and you'll also find homeware stores, gift stores, and galleries. Number 7. Sydney Tower Eye. Soaring above the city skyline, the 309-metre high Sydney Tower Eye is the city's tallest building and one of its great landmarks, other than the Opera House and Harbour Bridge, of course. This golden spire-topped turret rises from the busy Centrepoint shopping mall. Zooming up the Sydney Tower Eye is one of the popular things to do in the Sydney CBD for tourists. Express lifts whisk visitors to the observation deck at the top, or to Skywalk, an alfresco glass floor viewing platform, the perfect spot for sightseeing. While you're up here, you can enjoy panoramic views of Sydney and its surrounding suburbs, or enjoy a bite to eat at one of the revolving restaurants or the cafe. Number 8. Cockatoo Island. A short ferry ride from the Sydney centre will take you to Cockatoo Island, Sydney Harbour's largest island. This is from the list of top Sydney tourist places. An audio tour or a self-guided journey gives tourists an insight into the shipbuilding history of the island. It is the only Sydney harbour island where you can stay overnight in a luxury apartment or camp at the harbour's edge. Number 9. Bondi Beach. The turquoise waters, golden sands, and the lovely waves make Bondi Beach one of the best Sydney tourist attractions at night. You can enjoy water sports, diverse shopping markets, exotic fine dining, buzzing nightlife, and soothing coastal walks. This is one of the best tourist places in Sydney. Do not miss whale watching, clifftop golfing, shopping, surfing, seaside water polo, Bondi to Coogee Coastal Walk, Flickerfest International Short Film Festival, Ben & Jerry's Open Air Cinemas, and Bolarama Skateboarding Competition. Try attending the largest annual free-to-the-public outdoor sculpture exhibition, Sculpture by the Sea. Number 10. Manly Beach. Situated among the northern beaches of Sydney, the Manly Beach was named by Captain Arthur Phillip after the confidence and manly behaviour of the indigenous people living there. One of the first places to offer swimming and surfing, Manly doesn't fail to impress tourists with wide ocean beaches on one side and serene sandy harbour coves on the other. It is one of the best places to visit in Sydney. Do not miss Manly Art Gallery and Museum, Manly Ocean World, Manly Bike Tours and Surfing. Number 11. Taronga Zoo. If you are looking for close encounters with wildlife and superb views of the Sydney skyline, you need not be at two different places. Amongst the tourist attractions in Sydney, the Taronga Zoo provides both to all its visitors. In addition to being a tourist attraction in Sydney, the zoo hosts corporate events, family functions, and even marriages. Number 12. Hyde Park. Named after Hyde Park in London, Sydney's Hyde Park is Australia's oldest park. It's a peaceful sanctuary in the heart of the city and a lovely spot for a picnic. Sprawling lawns, shady picnic spots, flowers, fountains, and fig trees provide a welcome escape, and the park offers prime people watching, especially at lunch when city workers come here to kick off their shoes. So guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, make sure to like, share and subscribe. Until next time.